At 32, Charlie Munger was broke, divorced, and raising a child on his own. He wasn't special. He wasn't born into wealth. He was starting over, financially drained and emotionally devastated. But instead of giving up, he made a decision to rebuild his life with discipline, wisdom, and long-term thinking. What followed was one of the greatest transformations in American business history. Munger went on to become a multi-billionaire, vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, and the quiet force behind one of the most successful investment partnerships ever created. But this story isn't just about money. It's about mental models, resilience, and the power of thinking differently. This is the extraordinary life of Charlie Munger. Charlie Thomas Munger was born on January 1st, 1924 in Omaha, Nebraska. He grew up in the same town as Warren Buffett, though they wouldn't meet until decades later. His father Alfred Munger was a lawyer, and his mother Florence was a high-minded woman who instilled in Charlie a deep respect for education and self-discipline. As a boy, Charlie worked at a grocery store. The work was simple, stacking cans, sweeping floors, but it left an impression. Charlie didn't romanticize hard labor. He knew there was nothing noble in unnecessary struggle. From an early age, he was obsessed not just with working, but with working smart. He went on to study mathematics at the University of Michigan, but World War II interrupted his education. Charlie served in the US Army Air Corps, training as a meteorologist and later studying at Caltech. After the war, he used the GI Bill to attend Harvard Law School, despite not even having an undergraduate degree. He could have stopped there, prestigious law degree, good job prospects, but Charlie Munger wasn't interested in prestige. He was interested in leverage, the kind that would allow him to multiply his value over time. In the early 1950s, Charlie had co-founded his own law firm and had a growing family. But disaster struck. He went through a painful divorce, and one of his young sons died of leukemia. He was emotionally shattered and financially drained. He was in his 30s, broke, raising one child on his own, and starting all over. Most people would have accepted a quiet life in the legal profession, but Charlie began studying something new. Investing. He was drawn to it not just for the potential rewards, but for the intellectual challenge. He read Benjamin Graham's The Intelligent Investor, studied business models, and began to develop his own framework for understanding markets. He didn't want to play the game like everyone else. He wanted to master it. Charlie's decision to pivot towards investing didn't come without sacrifice. He worked long hours, poring over company balance sheets at nights, and using his weekends to read about everything from biology to economics. He wasn't just chasing money, he was chasing a way to make his time count, to avoid a life spent trading hours for dollars. This mindset was critical to the legacy he would eventually build. Charlie soon realized that law, while lucrative, had a fundamental flaw. It scaled poorly. He wanted his income to grow even when he wasn't working. That realization pushed him further into investing. In the 1960s, he formed his own investment partnership. And while he didn't follow Graham's seek-out-bought strategy of buying mediocre companies at bargain prices, he did keep one thing from Graham: margin of safety. Charlie's real innovation wasn't quality. He believed that buying a great business at a fair price was far better than buying a fair business at a great price. He sought out companies with strong economics, honest management, and long-term durability. One of his early successes was a real estate investment that multiplied many times over. He began compounding capital at impressive rates. His style was patient, thoughtful, and heavily influenced by multiple disciplines. He also started making connections with other like-minded investors and business leaders. Charlie's name quickly became connected as an intelligent capital allocation. He had little interest in day trading or speculative stocks. Instead, he focused on businesses that were simple to understand, consistently profitable, and run by principled leaders. He once said, "It's remarkable how much long-term advantage people like us have gotten by trying to be consistently not stupid, instead of trying to be very intelligent." Munger didn't believe in narrow thinking. He called it the man with a hammer syndrome. To the man with only a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. Instead, he believed in building a toolbox, a framework of mental models drawn from psychology, physics, biology, economics, and history. These models helped him think more clearly, avoid mistakes, and make better decisions. He once said, "Spend each day trying to be a little wiser than you were when you woke up. Discharge your duties faithfully and well. Step by step, you will get ahead." His multidisciplinary approach made him a better investor, but more importantly, it made him a wiser person. Charlie also drew from the teachings of classical thinkers like Darwin, Newton, and Franklin. He wasn't looking for fads, nor hot trends. He was looking for timeless principles. The more mental models he added to his arsenal, the better he became at simplifying complexity and seeing the signal through the noise. In 1959, Munger met Warren Buffett at a dinner party in Omaha. They hit it off instantly. Buffett later said it was like finding a long-lost brother. While Buffett was deeply influenced by Ben Graham's value investing, Munger pushed him to evolve. It encouraged Warren to focus less on cheap stocks and more on great businesses. This shift would change the trajectory of Berkshire Hathaway. Together they built an empire. Berkshire Hathaway went from a struggling textile mill to a holding company that owned some of the most iconic businesses in the world, from Geico to See's Candies to Dairy Queen and BNSF Railway. Munger became vice chairman of Berkshire in 1978. Though he rarely spoke in public, when he did, his wit and wisdom became legendary. He wasn't afraid to speak his mind. He once described Bitcoin as red poison squared and condemned financial speculations as a societal disease. Whether you agreed or disagreed with him, Charlie Munger always made you think. More importantly, the partnership with Buffett and Munger was built on mutual respect and intellectual honesty. They challenged each other, balanced each other, and together created one of the most successful business collaborations in history. Munger's insistence on long-term thinking and rational analysis became central to Berkshire's culture. Charlie believed that success wasn't just about IQ, it was about character, discipline, and temperament. He emphasized the importance of patience. The big money is not in the buying or selling, but in the waiting. He avoided debt, embraced simplicity, and believed in the compounding power of good habits over time. He lived in the same house for decades. He drove modest cars. He didn't chase trends. He studied, he thought, he acted deliberately. He avoided envy, kept a sense of humor, and never stopped learning. In his 90s, he was still giving talks, still reading, still asking questions. Munger was a student of history and ethics. He believed in the power of human agency and rational behavior. He believed that the path to success was paved with delayed gratification, humility, and resilience. He also had little tolerance for dishonesty and shortcuts. You don't have to cheat to win, he often said. His advice to young people was simple: avoid toxic people, learn continuously, and align yourself with institutions and have integrity. His habits reflected his philosophy, reading hundreds of pages a day, avoiding distractions, and valuing deep thought over surface-level productivity. Charlie Munger passed away in 2023 at the age of 99. His death marked the end of an era, but not the end of his influence. Munger was married twice and raised 7 biological children, 3 from his first wife and 4 with his second wife, while also serving as stepfather for 2 children. He left behind not only billions of dollars in assets, but a treasure trove of wisdom. His talks at Berkshire Hathaway meetings, his speeches at universities, and his books, especially Poor Charlie's Almanac, are studied by investors, entrepreneurs, and thinkers around the world. Charlie Munger's life wasn't defined by early success. It was defined by resilience, clarity of thought, and the belief that rationality and ethics are not mutually exclusive. He once said, "Take a simple idea and take it seriously." And he lived that idea to its fullest. Charlie Munger is proof that it's never too late to turn things around. He didn't build his fortune in his 20s. He didn't stumble into success. He studied, suffered, and he stayed disciplined. If you found this story inspiring, make sure to subscribe for more real stories of ambition and success. See you next time.